Good morning, happy Thursday. Sorry the dishwasher is so loud. I've been getting a few questions about the Samick and if it's worth it as far as efficiency. It is a big splurge, but it can really add a lot of time back into your day, and it's also multifunctional. We bought this, it came with our CT7, the original Good Natured countertop cold press machine. The press chamber was separate from the grinder was separate from the press chamber. So the CT7 was just the press chamber and the Samick was the grinder. I'm virtually out of bottles, so I need to wash some bottles and take the labels off. I use the dishwasher to unlabel bottles if I ever get really low. I just let them sit in there for a minute while they get really hot, and then I can easily remove the label. So I'm going to do that, and then I've got an order to finish. I didn't get his name, that's why I wrote man ? I'm gonna let those cook in there for a minute. This thing will heat up to like 170 degrees, and then I'll run it and then I'll peel them off and they'll be ready to go. Let's get Judy set up. If you tune into the videos regularly, you probably noticed that I don't use the grinder on Judy. Judy is the Good Nature X1. This is the Good Nature X1 Mini. We also have the Good Nature M1. It's currently at Jordan's house. That arrived during quarantine. She's got some videos over on her channel if you want to see that. I can't wait to get my hands on that. When we got Judy, I did a lot of experimenting. It took me a few months to finally get to a consistent product that we were making. When we juiced our green juices on Judy for the New Year's cleanse, we didn't get a good extraction off our kale because it wasn't getting ground up very well. So I did put in the finer blade this time. We're gonna see if it handles it with just the blade. If it doesn't, we are going to Vitamix the greens. I'll just dig them out of the press bag if I have to. It took me a few months to really dial in the juice that we wanted to be serving. There was definitely a difference in the grinders from the Mini to Judy. The grinder is totally different. The X1 Mini has what Good Nature calls an herbivore grinder. It is very adaptive and it can grind different things. You don't need to switch the blade, it's all one thing, and it does an amazing job at handling everything you throw in it. The extraction on the X1 Mini, that juicer, as far as all-in-one juicer, it's my favorite juicer. It makes incredible tasting juice. You don't have to know how to grind things, how to prepare the produce. Some things need ground and chopped more than others. So kale really needs ground, carrots need ground, whereas softer fruits and veggies, you don't need to grind them much. They don't need a lot of prep. So the Mini handles all that thinking. But when I started using Judy, I noticed, because I was making the same recipes on a different juicer, I noticed that our ginger extraction wasn't good. Our kale flavor and color and extraction just wasn't good. I noticed that we had to use a lot more lemons, and I was like, this isn't gonna work, this isn't gonna cut it. Back when we were on the truck, we used the Samick, and we still had it because we use it to make our donuts, all of our vegan treats. So I was like, I'm just gonna grind our kale and ginger and lemon and all the things that flavor and give our juices, not our liquid bases, but all of the herbs and things that really add a lot to our juice. We wanted to get the most out of that produce. So I started using the Samick, and it was, the quality was right back with the Mini. You do kind of have to learn how to grind and handle things, so that Mini isn't doing the grinding for you. You kind of have to know what you're doing. And the best way I learned that was just to look at the Mini press bags and how the produce looked when it came out of that grinder and kind of shoot for it on the Samick. And you just kind of have to learn that process and go through that learning curve to figure out the best extraction. So you're just dialing in your juices, and it just takes a little bit of time to learn. Your produce is going to go so much further. The cleanup is so much easier. You don't have to deal with the shoot and the different blades, changing the blade mid-juice. It's just a much simpler process. For me, at least, it's a lot easier. So is it worth the $2,000 to $3,000? That's up to you, but it has completely changed my process and the quality of our juice. If you are buying the Samick off of Webstaurant store, it does come with the S-blade. This needs descaled. This is the 8.5 quart model. They do sell different sizes. I like this one because it's about the same size as one press on the mini. So if you're just doing like a 3 to 5 pound press, that works great. You can throw it all in at once and just pour it into the mini then. So I just dump the bucket into the press bag. I take out the blade and dump it. Where this really becomes a big efficiency hack is if you're working just on the mini and you need to just burn through like pounds of carrots or a whole box of celery. Celery is game changing. The Siamic is game changing for celery. I can juice a whole box of celery in 30 minutes. It's like 30 something stalks. Carrots, kale, celery, all the things that, think of it like you're just taking this size grinder and putting it where this grinder is. It's like double the size, triple the size. So think of it like you're just cutting your grinding time in half. I always grind my lemon first. That way it's kind of touching all the produce. That helps with oxidation and shelf life. I always do my herbs, greens, carrots first, hard veggies first, and then I'll add the softer stuff to the recipe like apples and oranges. Be careful not to over grind. You can easily over process celery. Celery just needs a quick blitz and it's done. If your celery is separating, you're definitely over processing it. If your juices are separating quickly, definitely over processing. If you guys have questions on the Siamic, definitely leave them down below. I gotta make some juice. I'm gonna run this. Let's get to juicing. First recipe I'm making today is our snap. It's apple lemon ginger. So I grind the lemon and ginger first really well, get a really good grind on that so I get the most out of my ginger. All that heat and extraction, we get all that out. And then I'll add the apples just for a second and blitz those, and then I'll put them in the press chamber and we'll juice them up. Lemon and ginger in first. If this was a bigger batch, I'd be sure to save a lemon for every round of apples that I'd have to grind. But I know that all these apples will fit in here. So I'm good to grind. Always keep it on speed 5. That's just what Good Nature told us for the CT7. So we always use that speed. If these were bigger apples, I'd cut them all in half. Sometimes bigger apples will just kind of, the grinder won't catch them. But these are pretty small, so I'll go ahead and put them all in. Sometimes it surprises people how heavy this can be. This is probably 20 pounds, especially full of produce. When we opened the shop back up in May, I was a little sore the day after we first started. Juicing's hard work. You gotta pick up boxes, 40-pound boxes of produce. You gotta be able to pick up this Siamic full of produce. This is why I cut the apples up. hard veggies in. There's turmeric down in there, lemon, and then I'll do the softer pineapple, apple, orange to this. Give him so many kisses, it's ridiculous. Carrots you can really grind up. Hope that was helpful to you guys of making your decision. These two I just made, and then these guys are all from yesterday, and this is from Tuesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Your juice shouldn't be separated. If it is separated, you're over processing it on the Samick. With the mini, you don't have to worry about over processing. There is definitely like a gradient of processing, and it'll just take a while for you to learn that, but pay attention to if it's separating, pay attention to your pulp. You should have good dry pulp, and again, look at the mini if you're looking for like a gauge of what your pulp should look like. Should have really good fresh flavor. I add, again, lemon to every time I grind. There's a lemon in there, and normally I hit that lemon first, so it is touching everything. Samick is great for greens, great for carrots, great for celery. It's a huge asset here in our kitchen, and I use it every day. Jordan just brought something very exciting into the shop. I just mentioned this earlier in this video. It's so tiny. It's really tiny. It is so like fun to juice on. It's mini. It's like the Lamborghini of at-home juicers. It can fit like 1 to 2 pounds of produce, so it's a single serving juicer. It's really cool. Can't wait to play with that. That wraps it up for this video. If you guys have any questions on the Samick, definitely leave them down in the comments. I can't believe we have 3 good nature juicers in our juice shop. That's crazy. We're trying to name the M1 right now. Leave your best name suggestions down in the comments. Pam. Judy is The Office? Yes.
Pam, it's Pam. Pam is her name.
It might be Pam.
Oh, I love it so much.
All I can think of is The Office.
Preston on Pam.
Okay, I think it's Pam.